What if I told you that starting this month, millions of Americans could see an extra $500 show up in their bank account every single month? No lottery, no side hustle, no secret program, just a boost to the money they already depend on. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, today we're breaking down exactly what's being said, what it really means for you, and whether that extra $500 is actually coming. Or if there's more to the story than the headlines are telling you. Stay with me because this could directly impact your wallet. Imagine waking up one morning, checking the news, and hearing that millions of people could be getting an extra $500 every single month. For many families, that kind of money is not just a small bonus. It could mean groceries without stress, medicine without worry, bills paid on time, and maybe even a little left over for something joyful. That is why so many people are talking about this announcement about a possible $500 monthly raise connected to Social Security. The idea sounds powerful, it sounds hopeful, and for people living on fixed incomes, it sounds almost life-changing. But what does it really mean, and how should you think about it? Let's start by understanding why this kind of news spreads so quickly. Social Security is not just another government program. For millions of retirees, disabled individuals, and surviving family members, it is their main source of income. It is the money they count on every month to survive. Many people worked for decades, paid taxes faithfully, and now depend on that check to keep the lights on. So when they hear the words $500 monthly raise, their hearts jump. It feels like relief is finally coming. Think about someone who receives around $1,500 a month. Add $500 to that, and suddenly their income becomes $2,000 a month. That is a huge difference. That extra amount could cover rent increases, rising food prices, or unexpected medical bills. In recent years, prices for almost everything have gone up. Groceries cost more, gas costs more, utilities cost more, even basic household items cost more. For someone on a fixed income, inflation hits hard. They cannot simply ask their boss for a raise. They cannot easily work overtime, so any talk of a benefit increase feels like fresh air after holding your breath for too long. But whenever you hear a big financial announcement, especially one that sounds almost too good to be true, it is important to slow down and look carefully. Where is the money coming from? Who exactly qualifies? Is it permanent, temporary, or just a proposal? These questions matter because there is a big difference between a headline and reality. Sometimes headlines are written to grab attention. They use powerful words like breaking, massive raise, or millions to benefit. But the details often tell a more complicated story. Social Security benefits do increase from time to time. One common increase comes from something called a cost of living adjustment, often known as COLA. This adjustment is designed to help benefits keep up with inflation. When prices go up, benefits may go up as well based on a formula tied to inflation data. However, these increases are usually percentage-based, not flat amounts like $500 for everyone. So if there were a cost of living increase, it would affect people differently depending on how much they already receive. Someone getting a larger benefit would see a bigger dollar increase than someone with a smaller benefit. Now imagine how powerful the idea of a flat $500 increase would be. It would mean that every eligible person gets the same extra amount, regardless of their current benefit. That would be unusual and significant. It would likely require new legislation, meaning lawmakers would have to propose it, debate it, and pass it into law. That process can take time. It can also face strong opinions from different sides. Some people would argue that it is necessary support for seniors and vulnerable individuals. Others might question how it would be funded and whether the Social Security system can afford it long term. This is where financial wisdom becomes important. It is easy to get excited about news that promises more money, but it is smarter to stay calm and informed. If you depend on Social Security, the best approach is to rely on official updates and trusted sources. Government websites and official statements are more reliable than random social media posts or dramatic video titles. Always check whether the information comes from a confirmed policy change or simply from discussion and speculation. At the same time, it is completely understandable why so many people hope this kind of increase becomes real. Many retirees are struggling quietly. They may not talk about it openly, but they feel the pressure. Medical expenses, especially prescription drugs, can take a large portion of their income. Housing costs continue to rise. Property taxes and insurance premiums can increase even after someone has paid off their home. For renters, the situation can be even harder, as rents can jump suddenly from one year to the next. An extra $500 a month could ease so much of that stress. Let's also think about the emotional side of this. Money is not just numbers. It represents security, independence, and dignity. Older adults who work their whole lives want to feel stable. They do not want to rely on their children for support. They do not want to choose between paying for food or paying for medicine. When news spreads about a potential raise, it brings hope. Hope is powerful. It gives people something positive to hold on to. But hope should be balanced with planning. Whether or not such an increase happens, it is always wise to manage your finances carefully. If you are nearing retirement, think about building savings while you still can. Reduce debt if possible. Create a realistic monthly budget. If you are already retired, review your expenses and see where small adjustments can make a difference. Even small savings can add up over time. Financial peace often comes from preparation, not from sudden changes. There is also a larger conversation happening about the future of Social Security. Many experts say the system faces financial challenges in the coming decades. As people live longer and the number of retirees grows, the program pays out more benefits. At the same time, the number of workers paying into the system may not grow at the same pace. This creates pressure on the system's funding. Lawmakers will likely need to make decisions about taxes, benefits, or both to keep the program strong for future generations. So any major increase would have to fit into that bigger picture. If you are watching or listening to discussions about a $500 raise, ask yourself a few simple questions. Is this already approved or is it being proposed? When would it take effect? Who exactly qualifies? Is it permanent? These questions protect you from disappointment. They also help you make smarter decisions. For example, if something is not yet official, you would not want to make big financial commitments based on it. You would not want to sign a new lease or take on new expenses expecting money that might not arrive. Another important thing to remember is that financial headlines often focus on the biggest possible number. $500 sounds dramatic. It grabs attention immediately. But sometimes increases are smaller or apply only to certain groups. Clarity matters, details matter. Instead of reacting emotionally, take a step back and look for confirmation from official announcements. At the heart of this conversation is a simple truth. Many people need relief. The cost of living has been rising, and fixed incomes do not stretch as far as they used to. That reality is not political. It is personal. It affects real families, real homes, and real lives. So when people talk about increasing benefits, they are often responding to real struggles they see around them. If such a raise were to happen, it would likely boost local economies too. Seniors would spend that money on groceries, healthcare, transportation, and services. That spending supports businesses and creates a ripple effect. Money flowing into communities often benefits more than just the individuals receiving it, so the impact could be broader than many people realize. Still, the most powerful position you can take is one of calm awareness. Stay informed, but do not panic. Be hopeful, but do not depend on rumors. Plan your finances based on what you know for sure, not on what might happen. If you receive Social Security, monitor official updates. If you have family members who depend on it, share accurate information with them. At the end of the day, whether the $500 monthly raise becomes reality or not, the conversation highlights something important. It reminds us how many people rely deeply on these benefits. It reminds us that financial security in retirement is not guaranteed, and it reminds us of the value of preparing as much as we can during our working years. Imagine the peace of mind that comes from knowing your essentials are covered. That is what people are really hoping for. Not luxury, not extravagance, just stability, just the ability to pay bills without fear, just the comfort of knowing that next month will not bring a financial crisis. So as you hear more about this possible increase, keep your eyes open and your expectations balanced. Celebrate good news when it is confirmed. Question bold claims until they are official. And most importantly, continue making wise financial choices in your own life. Because while policy changes can help, your daily decisions still matter the most. Money can bring stress, but it can also bring freedom when handled wisely. Whether it is $500 more or the same amount as before, your mindset and planning will shape your future. Stay informed, stay steady, and remember that real financial strength comes from knowledge, patience, and smart preparation.